What's up, guys? Just give me a second. I want to make sure my microphone is on, which it is. Okay, so update video on edit here. So, we did actually break a little bit below. Whoops. We did actually break a little bit below my target, but I did actually put a buy order in here right at my target, 39.82. Looks like we wicked down to 37.66. Unfortunately, with the stock market rolling over as much as it is here, you can see it looks like we're about to head into a bear market here. So that's very, very shitty. I mean, obviously, everything is very, very shitty here. Excuse me. So I'm looking for a bounce here very soon, I hope. But at the same time, this potential death cross coming in could be a little bit scary. We are starting to get into the oversold area a little bit, but obviously we could get some more downside here. We did fall below the 100 EMA here a little bit, so we are getting rejected by that now. So that's pretty shitty. This was the area I really wanted to see it hold support here at 39.81, actually. 39.82, same shit. But we happened to break that support there. So although we wicked below and we didn't get a daily close below here, did we get an hourly close below here? We didn't. We actually, maybe we did, right? We did get an hourly close below here, but then the next hourly close here, we did buy back up here so far. So as long as we can continue to hold this 39.52 level, that would be absolutely amazing. So you can see here that on the RSI, we were very overextended down here. But on the downside here, this could be creating another head and shoulders pattern here that could lead us into potential further downside. But for now, we are getting a small little buyback here. So obviously you can see here we got rejected on this trend line here at 41.60. So we want to get back above this 41.60. And then the next resistance level will be 43.11 here. If we look at the TD9, and I'm going to throw on some Ichimoku Cloud here, we're going to have very strong support at 41.04. I mean, resistance at 41, basically $41 here. And then, like I said, 41.62. And then at the highest that we probably can go is 42.77. So, depending on how this goes tomorrow with this TD9 flash and this small little reversal setup here, short term, it looks like we could get a nice little buyback for now. So obviously, if we do actually have a very big run up here tomorrow, I don't think we'd even get up there. I mean, we'll be fucking dreaming. But the highest we could go is 45.87 here, short term. But we have quite a bit of resistance here. So for now, we are getting some buyback here. And, eventually we are going to create bearish divergence, most likely, if we, this is on the 45 minutes, so this is okay to do. So it could buy back up to this trend line, maybe. And it's hard to tell right now if that trend line is going to only be at 41.60 or if we're going to get to 42.68 and then as high as 44.17. But, it still stands here that, if we can get up here for some reason, right? I highly, highly doubt this, right? I highly doubt it. But it still stands that if we can get a close above this 49.33, 48.54 to 49.03, then you can go long there. But until then, you're catching a falling knife, of course. But my buy order did hit on this trend line here. So I was down a few bucks here when we got down to this point. But I am going to hold this thing a little bit. And I'm probably going to just swing trade it, to be honest here. Just because in case we can't get above any of these levels here and stuff starts looking bearish, which it definitely still looks bearish, we could actually start falling pretty damn low here, as low as 27.82 and also as low as 35.13 as well, if we're not going to continue to hold this trend line here. So you know, it's something to keep in mind. Now, as of right now, we do have bullish divergence here on the 45-minute. Do we have bullish divergence on the hourly? We have bullish divergence on the hourly as well, straight across here. But like I said, we could come all the way up here and get rejected right on this line here. And let's see on the 4-hour if we have bullish divergence yet. We don't have any signs of a bounce yet on the 4-hour here. We don't have any type of trend reversal candles. And we obviously came up here and got rejected. So we're continuously making lower lows, which is very bad to see. You know, and just everything is just absolutely going to shit. So, you know, these are just stocks. Now, I'm not setting up any long-term. I mean, I'm not setting any short-term, you know, trades, really. I mean, obviously, I bought in at this trend line here expecting for some bottom action. We got a nice bounce out of there, but, you know, these are just kind of for long-term plays potentially because I really do like this thing. But I do see some further downside in many of these stocks here, unfortunately. So, you know, I can run through in the same video, so I don't have to make 10 videos here. We can run through a couple different stocks here and see what we have playing out just for the hell of it. So ZOM looks like it's coming down to test this trend line here at 163. It almost touched it. It did buy back up on the daily here, and it's holding this 188 roughly. 187-ish on this purple Ichimoku cloud here, and below that is the 181 there. In the past, we've wicked down as far as 132. We don't have too much support below us here, which is pretty scary to see. Besides old support here at 150, 122, and then obviously this cloud support at 92, and this resistance at 79, if it does actually want to continue down. And you can see here, as of right now, on the daily here, we had a massive head and shoulders pattern. So, you know, this is your head and shoulders pattern here, right? So you can do the same thing on the RSI as you can do on, you know, a chart pattern is the head to the neckline, right? So the neckline is this point here. You always do your neckline right at the bottom here, and then you take a measured move from your head to the neckline, and if it breaks the neckline, your measured move down is the size of that head, and that goes all the way down here. So you can see right now you're getting resistance on the neckline of your head and shoulders pattern here, creating what looks to be a bear flag right here on the RSI. So this is not good for ZOM. You know, I know a lot of people are bullish on the company, and the company is a great company, right? But when it comes to the stock market, in stocks, in my opinion, you know, stocks are going to react to my knowledge here. The charts are going to react better than the value of the company. So we're rolling over here, and we're basically getting close to getting some support at 165 here short term. So that should be very strong support right in this range on the 4-hourly here. So you don't want to break that. But, you know, obviously your moving averages are all rolling over here, which is going to potentially push the prices down here. Now, if you do get a buyback here, right, so say we get some sort of bounce here, and we do buy back, I mean, you could still come back up as high as 217 here, but you're going to get quite a bit of resistance here at 202. And if we do continue to hold underneath this Ichimoku support here, you have a lot of resistance at this 50 EMA at 191, 194, and 197 here. So doesn't look like it's going to be able to get a push back above that. So if you look on the hourly here, we are getting a nice bounce here, and you know, we don't have bullish divergence here, but you know, if you were going to get a buyback here, it looks like 198 roughly is going to be your resistance here. But on the hourly here, it looks like it's going to get a small little death cross here. So if this is a small little fake out, which you did get resistance here at 191 already, and you have your support short term at 185, below that is 180. If this is a little fake out right here, then and you're going to continue further down here, you know, right now you're getting some random support, which I don't even see where you're getting the support at. Maybe it's just based off of what people are going off of, which is the old, wicks down here. But, to me, it looks like we are creating, a descending, or maybe a small head and shoulders pattern here as well in the hourly. So if I hide some of this shit here, hide the Ichimoku in that, you can see that we are probably coming back up here to test, and we could wick as high as some of those moving averages. But it looks to me like if short term we are going to get a bounce here, which is very hard to do because you can see all these moving averages pointing down here, right? But if we do get a buyback, you could come as high as this, create the right shoulder, which, like I said, is as high as $2, which is probably where you were going to come to if you do get a buyback. And then as high as up here, which could create the right shoulder here. But in my opinion, that's what it looks like to me. Don't hate on me. I like ZOM, but I think it's a little overvalued right now, based off of and you have some spinning tops and a trend reversal candle right here that came in. Although everything looked nice and bullish here, nothing kind of worked out the way we were expecting here. And, we ended up with some very, very terrible, candles. So you can see we're still very, very overbought here. And obviously a spinning top here this week, which could change, of course, right? If we get a nice buyback here up into this 225 or above this 225, really 228, then you could make a very sick fucking candle, which would be beautiful. If you could get this buyback here, you would actually get a bullish hammer candle, right? This looks like shit, but you know what I'm saying. That's really the only bullish case that you would want to look for, is this candle by the end of the week to get bought up to 228, so that you can make I can't fucking draw on top of that for some reason. But that would be your only bullish case there. You'd have to get above 228 here. So hopefully that happens for anyone holding ZOM. So yeah, short term, I'm looking for a bounce here. And you could come as high as 207, really, 209, just because that's that trend line there. But you're going to have a lot of resistance here at 99, 203, and above 206. And as high as, for the very bullish case, 213, if we in fact decide to buy back that high. And then you can see my trend line here that's probably going to come to there, which would in fact create your shoulder. You can see there you got your left shoulder, your head, and if we buy back here, that would be your right shoulder there. That's ZOM. I know this is going to be a long video because I'm going to go through a couple different things here in one video. And if you guys have anything that you want me to do videos on, feel free to leave them in the comments here. This was one I just entered today, actually, and I talked about this in a video on the NASDAQ here. I entered up the SQQ. I entered right here on this confirmation right about here. So I think I got an average of 482, to be honest, because it did actually wick down below here, and I knew that it was getting very bullish here. So I did actually get a buy-in right at 482 or something, or 4 something. And we did have this beautiful, beautiful breakout here. And, we got a pink TD9 flash. Looks like it could roll over here, potentially come back down to 1505 if it doesn't, if the NASDAQ actually comes back down. I did have a target of 1681, and it came up to 1633. So, I mean, right now there's bearish divergence as well on the hourly on this thing. I didn't exit it, but I'm just going to kind of hold it because, although I'm up a little bit of money here, it's nothing crazy. In order for it to really get bullish, it would have to get above this 100 EMA at 1684. So, this is something I'm holding. The reason I'm holding it here is because, obviously, it's the inverse of a few different sectors here that are doing shit. So this looks like, it played out as an inverse head and shoulders here. So, to me, if this does continue to pull back in every sector here, then this would be actually the real breakout here, is inverse head and shoulders, is $18 here. And if it does get above that 100 EMA, I mean, this thing is crazy, right? This thing had some crazy highs in March. Like, can't even see it on this chart here, but it goes all the way up to $200. And of course, that's crazy if you'd think I'm crazy if that would happen, and I still don't even think it would, but I'm just going to stay long here on this pattern, and I'll just keep my stop loss probably at break even at 14 something. I might not even use a stop loss here, but on the 4-hour here, it looks like it's going to get a golden cross coming in as well. So even with some small potential pullbacks here, or if it decides to flag out, but it's starting to get a little overextended, so it could come back down here, as well as bearish divergence, depending on what it continues to do here. It's not going to go straight up. So when the NASDAQ bounces a little bit, this thing will drop a little bit, and it'll probably come back down here, maybe to this 1507. It could even come back down further and test this at 1463. Seems to be a good level for it. So that's just kind of how it is. This thing is like a leveraged thing, so it does drop pretty fast. But I'm not even that worried. So as long as this stuff keeps coming down, I'll just keep making money on that while I'm losing money everywhere else. So NIO here, I had this target down here at 38.29, and we came down to 37.50. I didn't get a buy order in on this one. I'm a little nervous on it, but for now, it did buy back up above there. Looks like a lot of stocks were trying to bounce here. This has bearish divergence in the 1 hour, though, so this probably is not going to hold up too much. But if it did and it wanted to come back up, it could come up to 41.28 here, short term, then get rejected again and continue on down. Obviously all the moving averages are crossing. We're going into a bear market here. In many stocks short term right now. So one of the things I was looking for here was, when we talked about this, was if it made this ahead and then this came up as the right shoulder here. But unfortunately here, we created a right shoulder much lower, in my opinion. I mean, could we get a buyback here? That would be phenomenal, right? So say that in a couple months or a couple weeks even, we do get a bounce here. That doesn't mean we're completely bullish here unless we broke this trend line like we talked about, because if that isn't a right shoulder there that it created, and we are going to trend sideways here for a little while and hold this area here, if we are going to trend sideways here and hold this area here that we're at right now as support, then we could do something otherwise. But if it doesn't here, we got to talk about these downside targets here on this thing. Let me hide some of this Ichimoku cloud here. So if this breaks, this is the neckline of a head and shoulders pattern. And if it breaks, then you have a breakdown of a head and shoulders here. And this is a triple top up there, if you can see there. And then, I know it's scary to hear these targets here, guys, but we're going into some serious downside in most of these stocks here. And, you're looking at, holy fuck. All right, so I know it's scary to hear, but that's a head and shoulders breakdown target. Now, it doesn't have to go that fucking low, but that is the target. And you're going to catch support, and you're not going to go straight down here, but 29.44, 21.02. So, I mean, I know it sucks to hear, but that's why I didn't enter this thing down here like I first initially talked about. But if we don't do this crazy shit, because obviously, you're going to get bounces, and then you're going to trend lower, then you're going to get a bounce back up. This could take many months if we are going to go into a serious bear market here. But as of right now, we didn't close below here, so that's good. You don't want to close below 37.94. Let's look on the hourly. Nope, you still didn't close below there. So if in fact we're just doing this correction here, which we're very extremely overbought or oversold. Wait, overbought, is it? Overbought? No, oversold, sorry. Always mix those up. We're very oversold here. So if we do actually manage to hold this position here, which would be phenomenal for NIO, then we could actually say, we don't correct just yet and we correct later. This is something to keep in mind, of course, is that if we don't correct now and we correct more later and we do have another beautiful buyback here, that this could actually take a couple weeks here and round up and then get this right shoulder created. So, if you're holding this thing, just keep that in mind here, that this thing actually could get a beautiful bounce here over the next few weeks if we continue to hold this level here. And then you could come back up here to this $57 mark. And if you can't break that, though, keep that in mind, because don't get super excited when you get back up here later if you do. Hold on. So, sorry. My wife is asking for a towel. Day in the life of me. What else could we go over? This is a very long video, guys, I know. KLDO. Oof, this thing looks terrible, terrible, terrible. I still have this target. I'm sticking to it down here, 782. We're getting a death cross here on the 4 hour here. So that's going to push us down. No signs of a bounce yet on that thing. Unfortunately, I love it, but I got to wait for those targets. What else? Leave some tickers down below, guys. If you guys want me to do some something on something you're in here, I can kind of help you out a little bit. Try to anyway. I really want to see a big bounce here. Let's see PAR. We talked about this one the other day. Fucking A, dude. So I was talking about if we got to close above 90.32, that would be a long for me. But I was also talking about how if we rolled over here, it could be start of a head and shoulders pattern here. This looks a lot like NIO, actually. And we actually bounced perfectly off of a fib retracement level. Well, we're at a fib retracement level right now. We're above it. 7104 was the fib. This is actually the trend line down here that I had from back in the past here. You can see how perfectly these things work out here. We hit this perfect. But, you know, it's still not, it doesn't look that good. I mean, it looks like a death cross coming in. So, you know, it might actually just do something like this here. I have a downside target I'll show in a second. But it could just do something like that. So keep that in mind here, that it could get a buyback here up to the $76 and then come back down. But I got an overall target of $52 on that one. And if it continues to fall there, it could go as low as 41. And this is just based off of, this is your neckline right here, really. So you fall below 68.99 and you get an hourly close rejection below that. Then you have a head and shoulders pattern breakdown from here to here, which I wonder if it's going to line up the same or not. Nah. Well, it depends on where it breaks down, because if it breaks down over here, then, you know, it's roughly somewhere between this 50 and 52.50 level here for PAR. So maybe I'll get a nice bounce to 76, and then I sell off after that. And then DM, holy fucking shit, dude. This is ridiculous to me. But look where we touched. I know it looks like I just have a bunch of stupid trend lines in here, but these mean something, right? I honestly didn't see that it coming all the way down there, but this is a very key level of support. This was the pattern breakout here. So pattern breakout there. And then this was some trend line here, long-term trend line here, that if we broke that, right, this was the big breakout. If we broke this and held above, this line right here was like NNdM's going to the fucking moon. But unfortunately, it was a fake out double top, and we rolled back in. So now we're coming back to this pattern here that we were in prior. So, you know, right now we're going to try to keep this as support, and I really want to see it hold as support. And that right there was roughly 694. I mean, we almost touched it to a fucking T, so my lines might be off a little bit, but roughly 708. So keep an eye on that level there. We have a death cross coming in, another one on the 4 hour here. So if this does push us down below, it's very sad to say, but it's absolutely ridiculous. And I really hope it does not do this, but it's not going to do it in one day either. And we're very overextended here. And it actually looks like, again, like everything's looking like this, that we could actually get a nice bounce in some of these stocks here very soon, because we could actually see something like this come in very soon over the next few weeks. We're getting very close to needing to get a bounce here. But like I said, in the other stocks here is, you know, this right shoulder doesn't have to come all the way back up here. But, of course, it could. But, you know, this right shoulder can do something even more ridiculous and come up here and then get a rejection, which, you know, that could come as high as 1072, or my guess is 964. And we talked about this too, is like a lot of stocks are coming back up and getting rejected. So your bounce could be all the, you know, as low as 888 and then fall, or as high as 968, which was the weekly EMA that we really actually, was it the weekly EMA? No, the weekly EMA was actually right here at 875. I'm invested in NNdM too. I mean, I've been flipping it and shit, right? So, and then this morning it had a bounce back right up to this. It went up to 940, and that was right where I pretty much had an average in. So I cut my loss there, and then I bought some right around like. I think I honestly just put some buys in around like $8 because I didn't think it was going to go much lower, and I wasn't looking at this chart at the time. So now I have an average of like $8 here. So I'm actually going to cut my losses. I'm going to wait for a bounce back. I'm going to wait for a bounce back to like 860, and I'm going to get out, and I'm going to wait a while. Because even if it bounces here, I don't need to have the exact bottom. I'd rather wait it out and see if this thing's going to, come down to this 50 weekly EMA at 466. God, I fucking hope not. Or if it's just going to maintain support here. But I'd love it to maintain support here. I don't see any need for it to have to go all the way down here. But and like I said, this kind of looks like it could be a head and shoulder pattern here. So if we do get a beautiful buyback here, this is what we could see. And that could, that shoulder could come as high as, because nothing needs to go straight down here unless we're having a COVID crash here. So I'm not trying to put fear in us or anything, even though I have fear. We could come back up and create a shoulder here around $14. So that $13.69, that could be the level that we end up coming to here. Or this could be the $13, and then we could come back up here and try to test this top of this rising wedge again, which that could be another test here, but really depends on how this goes. On the weekly, we fell below the weekly EMA, which is not good, and it's starting to roll a little bit. So, but I want to see some big bounces in the stock market, and I feel like we might get some big bounces here pretty soon. Not pretty soon, but like in a couple weeks. So if we do maintain this level, then we could get a nice buyback up here, maybe to 1364, and see what we do from there, and then that could be it. But this right shoulder here could also be this 1039. So like I said, I'm probably just going to exit, and then if we get that close above 1080 or so, like we talked about, actually it's very tough to see. We need to get a big ass bounce here and then get above this 930 and as high as this $10. But we're way, way, way oversold here. So this should get a nice big bounce here very, very soon, hopefully tomorrow. And I hope it can get above this $8 range here. This is going to be resistance now, 823 and 885. But if we do get a nice big bounce here, then we could be looking for this area here. To me, we're right at a neckline of a head and shoulders. So this could be what we're looking at here, guys. So, that's why now it's still roughly the same here that we'd go long above like an hourly close above 1060. That would cancel out this head and shoulders potential here, in my opinion. So I think we could get a buyback here at least to this 1015 very soon. A lot of these stocks look like they're fucking ready to bounce. So even though we have a lot of negative things coming in, I think a lot of them are going to do something where they're going to bounce big. We're going to get a good solid buyback, and then we might fall lower unless we can, or we could come back down and like double bottom and cancel this whole head and shoulders idea out, which would be phenomenal because I don't want to see another COVID crash here, and I love this company. So NNdM sucks. I think it'll hold this level though. But just so many things are correcting like crazy. This thing, we were talking about this being, a bullish pattern, but we'd only go long if we could get a hourly close somewhere up here. But I also said that it looks like a head and shoulders pattern, and I was very nervous about that. And the neckline here is fuck, dude. This is a crazy breakdown, so I don't even think this would make sense, right? Because that's like going into the abyss there. But this is a neckline here, right around this level here. So you don't want to break this 1537 here. But it could be heading down there. Could be heading all the way down here maybe, and then it'll maybe get a nice big double bottom. But that's the level I'm looking for down here, believe it or not, 1540. We did just get an hourly close, or daily close. Holy fuck, we got a daily close below this trend line. So you know, if we don't want to look at it as a head and shoulders and we just want to look at it as a big rising channel here, and this will be a very much smaller target, we would be looking at 1287 could be the bottom, but I will see some very good support right here too, 1561. If we don't get a bounce very soon, but we did get a nice bounce there so far. So, you know, if this doesn't play out here and we can get back up, that would be excellent. But I'm a little nervous there because this is coming down for a death cross. This is rolling over for a death cross. Could push us down here. We're just getting a very, very insane correction. Holy fuck, dude. Man. Ridiculous. Here's my fucking breakdown target of this thing. Right? This thing hit it a lot quicker, right? At 1099. What did it hit? Hit 1089. So that, I mean, this thing could go lower, though. Fuck. That was my breakdown target of this thing. So, I mean, you know, you guys are afraid of my targets, I'm sure, but they hit. Look at that. They fucking hit. But I don't know. Let me know if you guys have anything else that you guys want me to look at. I'm going to end this video. Peace.